Viewers, welcome back to the Personal Injury Law Show. Before the break, we were talking about Dee's plight to get sexual services paid for by the Transport Accident Commission. Now, sadly, Dee's a 24-year-old man who's experiencing the feelings of a normal man, but he can't afford to get the services of a sex worker.
That's
Rob.
right.
Look, we've got a clip of Scarlet Road. It's about an organisation that is out there campaigning to try and get people like Dee looked after, and I think we should go and have a look at this clip and then have a chat about it afterwards. So we'll go to it now.
I do not have a girlfriend, so I cannot share my feelings with just one person. Rachel makes me feel like I have a girlfriend.
I like the fact that my job always entails pleasure, making someone feel better about themselves. They deserve to smile.
It's hard because with your other kids you don't have anything to do with their sex lives. Mark needed that little bit of help.
Rachel sees them as people, but she sees them as people that want to explore themselves to the fullest.
Yes, you have good muscles.
I would like him to lose his virginity.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's completely legal for a sex worker to come here. You can order in like a pizza.
People with disability want connection, intimacy and touch.
What am I going to do with you tonight?
People don't want to talk to me about sex. They just want to know where they can get it.
Tonight's really important. I haven't got much movement below the knee. To be able to achieve normal sexual function when you think yourself incapable of it, I feel like a real bloke again.
These are people that very often has, for a long time, never been touched.
Everybody needs to have somebody to hold hands with.
Sexuality and sexual expression is the last bastion.
It has been my dream to have a woman stay in my bed overnight.
Everyone has a right to sexual expression, and that includes people with disability.
Viewers, that little clip was highlighted the plight of these severely disabled people who still can experience sexual pleasures, but at what cost? They can't afford it, so they go to the people like the TAC and that to fund it. Rob, what's your take on that clip?
I really like it. I mean, it sort of takes it away from that stereotype of pretty woman and takes it really down to earth. It's they're really doing some good work, I think.
And Don?
Yeah, look, I totally agree. I mean, there are many people out there who, unfortunately, through injuries, they are seeking those sort of relationships, and they just find it difficult because of what they've gone through. So definitely, it's a great plight.
Look, I've got a couple of things I want to say about what I saw in that clip. One, we shouldn't discriminate against disabled people who can still experience sexual pleasures but can't afford it. Also, one fellow said he wants to experience sleeping with a woman or someone next to him, wake up in the morning. I mean, it's just an experience of being with someone. And also the other one talked about just holding hands. I mean, it's just amazing. It's really touching, I think. So this matter of Dee and the Transport Accident Commission went to the Supreme Court. Justice Beach remitted it back to the Commission. What does that mean, Don? Where's it going to go?
Well, it's gone back to the tribunal, back to the TAC to consider further. What should be noted is that first instance, when they ran it before the tribunal, there just was not enough evidence there for the tribunal to make a decision as to whether such services would be reasonable in Dee's case. And instead of the tribunal member remitting it back to the TAC, which the argument was that he had power to do so, he just affirmed the TAC's decision. So that meant that...
It was really a policy decision not to pay for it.
Look, I think it was. And in fact, one of the arguments that was raised by the counsel for the TAC was that if they were to approve such services will have profound problems both financially and potentially political. Now, I don't understand financially.
I don't understand any of those arguments.
I mean, I don't think it's a floodgates argument, so everyone will be entitled to it. There's enough protection in the Act for TAC. If it's not reasonable in the circumstances, they're not entitled to pay for it.
That's exactly right.
Exceptional circumstances.
Yeah, well, and the key thing is that people in the video and also this particular plaintiff have expressed a need, a desire. They've got the injury from the accident, so they qualify under the Act, really. Let's be realistic.
Theoretically, yeah.
And there's nothing to preclude them from getting that service, except for the fact that the TSC won't pay for it. What do you think we should go with this, Robert? Do you think that...
I think, well, keep fighting it, I suppose. It's given that it fits under the Act and it's something that potentially could be given to these people, if we can get past this stigma that they may have, then might be able to help these people out.
I guess they're going to have to obtain more literature and do some more studies and just work out the needs of people. And quite frankly, I just repeat what I said before. We shouldn't discriminate against people in these situations, disabled people. If they express a desire for sexual pleasures and they can carry them out, someone should pay for it.
Well, it goes back to what we said earlier on, Tony, that they pay for Viagra.
That's
why shouldn't
exactly
they
right.
for her services? In Dee's case, he had unimpaired sexual function.
That's right.
And unfortunately, due to his head injuries and other injuries, he found it difficult to have those relationships. So
And in fact, you'd probably take it one step further, Rob, and say if they don't get it, it's probably going to make their situation worse.
Quite conceivably, yeah.
Yeah, and particularly in that case of Dee, that's the evidence that sort of came out, but there wasn't enough there. There was evidence was that since he started attending those sex workers, his attitude and behaviour was getting a lot better.
In terms of himself and also the treatment he afforded the carers and people around him.
Yeah, that's totally right.
Let's move on to the next case, the Read and Transport Accident Commission. Who's going to give me the facts of this case?
I can help out with it, Tony. This one is one of these sort of sad Good Samaritan cases. Mr. Reid was a gentleman who was driving along the street. He noticed an old lady was broken down on the road. Her car had stopped. So he stopped and went over to her. I think it came out in the facts that perhaps she thought she'd run out of petrol or something like that. So she was in a dangerous position on the road. So he decided that he would help her to get the car into a safe place, into a side street, something like that. So he told her to, put the car, take off the handbrake, and he would push the car for her and she would steer it away. Now, they weren't quite clear on the facts, but it seems as though maybe she had her foot on the brake, maybe the handbrake was on, but when he went to push it, he felt this almighty pain in his Achilles tendon, and it turns out he actually ruptured it from pushing the car.
It snapped.
That's correct, it snapped off basically completely. And so he put in a claim for the TAC. He, claiming that it was related to a transport accident, and the TAC actually denied the claim. They actually said that it didn't arise out of the driving of a motor vehicle, caused by the driving of a motor vehicle as required by the Act.
So the Act says, Tony, it says a transport accident has to be an incident directly caused by the driving of a motor vehicle.
Well, why isn't it the driving of a motor vehicle? She's sitting in the car. He's specifically told her to steer the car. Isn't that driving?
Well, the tribunal held that the car was not drivable.
Because
so even if it pushed, it was just a mere platform.
But let's get this right. She just took off. He didn't get her details.
After
we'll never know
incident.
if she had petrol in the car or not.
No.
No.
Now, if there was petrol in the car and it's being pushed, it's conceivable that the car could start. Could have been a flat battery.
Well, I think it's the fact was that it actually didn't move at all. He was pushing it. He tried to push it, and that's when he incurred his injuries.
Sadly, sadly for Mr. Reid, he had a friend that was also present.
Yes.
Who passed away.
Passed away a few months afterwards. And he didn't provide any statements, and no statements were provided. TSA did send out an investigator, but they did not obtain a witness, a statement from that witness.
Okay. Look, we're going to have to go to a sponsors break. After the break, we're going to go some video footage of this incident or something similar. So we'll have a look at that, and then I'll get your comments. We'll take it from there. So viewers, please don't go away. Stick around. We'll go to a sponsors break, which means we're not doing Kathy's mailbag this week. Stay tuned, we'll do it the week after. Thank you, viewers.